Well, I can't think of a better title than Alone Together for the world that we now find ourselves in. Really is alone together with our music. So, yeah, let's dive into this one. Alone Together by Rikard Solblom's Gugfly. So, Rikard Solblom's Gugfly is a project from Rikard Solblom, which I'm still trying to figure out the difference between this and his solo work, because he also has a couple albums actually under his own personal name, but this one is the fifth album with the moniker of Gugfly. And Rikard Solblom got his claim to fame through Beardfish, which is one of my favorite modern progressive rock bands, but actually disbanded back in the mid 2010s. They have some of the best modern prog to date, in my opinion. And then when he left, he actually joined Big Big Train. Still wanting to create his own music, he decided to continue on with this Rikard Solblom's Gugfly. And I've been pretty excited for each of the releases. I feel like when Rikard is left on his own, he excels, but also falls into his own little trap of not knowing when to polish or cut things that made Beardfish what Beardfish was. So I've always kind of tried to do my best of distinguishing the two projects. So with Alone Together, it is the fifth studio album with the moniker of Rikard Solblom's Gugfly. And what we have are 6 very, very tasty tracks. And what I particularly love, outside of just the music of this album, is the way that it's structured in opening and closing with 2 longer tracks, both over 10 minutes. We have the first one, which is 13 minutes, and the closing track, which is just under 15 minutes. And then we've got the second and third track of being just over 6 minutes, the fourth track of being almost 10 minutes, and then fifth track of being just under 3 minutes. So the actual layout of this album is very, very well done and very well placed in my ears. This is the type of album that I love in terms of its structure. It has a very great ebb and flow. We've got epic, 2 smaller epics, like, being at the 6-minute mark, a mid-size epic of just under 10 minutes, a little bit of a sorbet, a little bit of a come down, and then the final big epic. And what I also really, really appreciate is some of the actual lyrical content of this. And they all kind of wrap around this whole isolation as well as seeking connection. This is specifically within The Traveler, the opening track, and I love the ebb and flows. I'm loving all the soundscapes. It's exactly what you were expecting if you were coming to either a new Beardfish album or just a straight up Rikard album. It's got all these signature sounds and signature soundscapes that I was hoping for within this particular tracks. It does a little bit become derivative of that, though. There's not a whole lot of new sequences, there's not a whole lot of new stylings within that, but it's still new music that does cover fun new ground in that sense. So it's a little bit of an oxymoron than that, and I understand that. I also really enjoy the 2 tracks that follow this up. They do feel very similar, but also different sides of the same coin. Happy Somewhere in Between is much more of a heavy hitter track. It's a lot more punchy. It's much more in your face. And I love Rikard's singing style within this of being able to rapid fire his lyrics of I will be your queen and you can be my king, da 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 da, we will be happy somewhere in between, right? So it's very punchy, it's very on rhythm, while also having more of this smaller, subdued, quieter moments. Specifically with Clean as a Whistle, I was feeling myself drawn back to, say, the Genesis early albums, Nursery Crimes or Foxtrot, with overlaying acoustic guitar rhythms. Very dreamscape in that sense. And so these two tracks are very polar opposites, while also being very similar in that respects. And it provides the perfect launch pad for Alone Together, the title track of this piece. And Alone Together provides such a great rockin' feel towards it. Like, I really found myself digging this track. I'm loving the soaring guitar works that we have on here. Like, I know Rikard gets a lot of praise for his keyboard work, and I mean, that's where he was hired for the Big Big Train outfit, but his soaring guitar works are at one point very Gilmour-esque, of providing this very intimate, heart-wrenching soaring, while also providing very technical aspects as well. From Afar being the 2-minute track, almost 3 minutes, it's the perfect smaller moment to get into On the Shoulders of Giants. And On the Shoulders of Giants was actually the track that I've really been craving talking about, because I feel like this is a better version of the track from The Tangent, which was Cod Pieces and Capes, where it was essentially just Andy Tellison ranting and raving that he isn't getting recognized by the forefathers or establishers of the progressive rock landscape, like artists such as Yes or Genesis, by basically saying your legacy is the bands that are channeling your essence and continuing to hold the torch of progressive rock, and why aren't you recognizing us? Which really translates to why aren't you recognizing me? Where with On the Shoulders of Giants is much more Rikard kind of reflecting of his joy, his overarching love of progressive rock, specifically with Frank Zappa. But on this particular track, I feel like he's channeling more of the early era of Yes. In the midsection, we have this amazing guitar work that is really channeling Steve Howe, along with the Chris Squire bass line within that. So I feel like he's emulating those sounds that Yes was pulling down. Essentially, the song of On the Shoulders of Giants is less about my original interpretation, which is like he is playing on the shoulders of giants and continuing on with the legacy that they had put down, which I feel is what Cod Pieces and Capes should have been. But rather, it was him waiting for other bands and the popular mainstream of music to continue what he loved with Frank Zappa and what he loved with this very freeing aspect of music, where it's not constrained by markets or the conventional status quo. He really wanted something freeing and something new. He just couldn't really find anything else from modern bands, or at least rather the popular media within the modern bands. And it felt like they were moving away from that. And so he figured, well, if I'll just create the music that I want to hear then, and I'll continue where they left off. And that's where the whole, I'm going to basically plant myself on the shoulders of giants, where they had put all this groundwork on, and I'm going to continue from there. And really, I love the music that surrounds this, because it does, as I mentioned, it not only channels Yes and Frank Zappa, but it channels that freeing aspect of just going wherever the music decides to go. And that beautiful play out at the end with that soaring guitar work is very heart-wrenching for me. The only qualm that I have is that I wish that soaring guitar, that final guitar solo, stretched a little bit longer. If they had moved this track maybe into a 16-minute and really played out that guitar with some really beautiful guitar work that I know Rikard can do, this would have been a masterpiece of a track. Rather, it does cut itself really short, and it just plays itself out by the end. In the end, Alone Together by Rikard Sjöblom's Gugfly was a fantastic time, and one that I found myself actually looking forward to sitting down and listening to. This is one that I would have no problem like picking up in physical format. The positives outweigh the negatives. Because the negatives are, like, outside of a moment here and there on Traveler, Alone Together, and On the Shoulders of Giants, I didn't feel like there was too many moments on this album that really stuck out as being brilliant. Like, there's no moment on here that raises to the same heights that Beardfish did. But at the same token, I never found myself really wanting to skip or not enjoying the music that's surrounding it. So that's kind of where I'm at for Alone Together from Rikard Soblum's Gugfly. What did you guys think? Did you love this album? Did you hate this album? Whatever you thought, let me know by commenting down below. And thank you guys so much for watching. As always, you guys are definitely the best. And until next time, notes out.